How are we already on Halloweek Day 3?
I don't know, man.
Time flies when you're talking about ancient as shit serial killers, I guess. Anyway, you know the drill by now. Mi nombre es que, su nombre es na, y esto es Wading into the Void.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I Spanishized it up for this one.
It was
Why?
great.
I don't know. Felt like it.
And we're going international!
I wrote, maybe I'll do French for day 5. We'll see what the vibe's like.
Oh, God. Can't wait.
Anyway, Halloweek Day 3. Here we are. So exciting to keep going with the Jack the Ripper coverage. You know, last episode, Nat's episode, about the remaining 4 canonical 5 victims was pretty heavy, so we're going to keep it light today. So expect a fun little jokey episode, more so than anything, as we get into the topic for today. But we're going to, keep on track, keep it quick, and I'm going to let Nat take it away with the Oracle card.
All right. So we're going back to our beautiful Halloween Oracle guidebook by Miss Stacy DeMarco and illustrated by Jimmy Manton. Jimmy! The card that we got for today, is forgiveness.
Oh.
Right?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is that we haven't pulled any of the cards that we did last year.
We haven't. That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Excuse me. I just had drank some soda and now my stomach's like, hello.
It's going
I'm here. So, forgiveness represents reducing burden. And the little poem that's included says, "A wrong is done, consequences you cannot deny. But to hold a grudge is to drink poison and think that the other person will die."
Fuck, okay.
Basically saying,
damn,
if you hold a grudge, you're hurting yourself more than the other person.
Yeah, okay. Not into it.
So, since we've chosen this card is basically saying, think about who it is that you could be forgiving. And that kind of includes yourself, too. Around this...
I like that.
Yeah, basically. Some of this heavy-heartedness, some of these grudges, some of these unforgivable things that you're feeling, could relate to old relationships or grievances. Some can relate to negative feelings that we hold on to tightly about others, and even a lack of compassion for the quote-unquote mistakes we ourselves have made.
Interesting.
And it's said that it takes a big person to apologize, but in many ways, it takes an even bigger person to forgive. And
that's actually kind of optimistic.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna be.
It says, it's important that we move those feelings along to forgiveness and release as soon as possible for our own health and well-being. So whether you're feeling negatively about yourself or about your relationship with somebody else or what have you, you have this horrible ick in your soul and you need to get rid of it.
Yeah. I like that card. I think that's good, actually, kind of going into today, what we're going to talk about.
I think that's really good just in general for anyone to hear also.
It is. Because I mean, I hold a grudge.
I was going to say, I think everyone has had a grudge or been upset with themselves. And like, even when you're going to bed at night and you're like, oh my god, this embarrassing thing that I did 10 years ago haunts me at night. Like,
glad that's not just me then.
No. Everyone feels that way. But the biggest part about growing as a person is learning to forgive and forget. And that's kind of something that I'm dealing with right now. And I just thought it was really interesting that we got that card.
Yeah, no, I really like that one.
Yeah, me too.
So,
and it's a cool card. By the way, I'm not taking pictures of any of these. If you guys want to see pictures of this specific deck, go buy this deck.
Yeah, purchase it. Support the author.
Pick it up. It's Halloween-themed Oracle cards by Stacey DeMarco. Like, what the fuck are you waiting for?
What else information do you need?
Exactly. We've been uploading so much content for Halloweek, and yeah,
don't be surprised if we reward ourselves with a teeny tiny break after this.
Yeah. So that's all I have for the Oracle reading.
All right. With the reading done, I say it's time to hop into the subject of today's episode. The Jack the Ripper investigation.
Goody.
Yes, I'm going to be covering the ins and outs of the police, specifically, and even some, of the most interesting pieces of evidence that there is in this case. So, it should be pretty good. So, if that's some good info for y'all, let's hop into it.
All right, I'm ready.
The first point that I need to make is that from the get-go, the Victorian-era police were immediately at a disadvantage. They had never investigated something of this measure before and had nothing they could really compare it to up until this point. Serial killers didn't exist, at least officially, and they had no previous investigations to go off of to instruct them where to go next, what evidence to collect, or what materials or motives there were that they were supposed to consider. And all that, added to the fact that this was the 1880s and there was no DNA or forensic analyzation. So solving this series of murders was near to impossible. So, it's no surprise that the killer remains a mystery to this day.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
It's just something we don't think of,
It's so interesting. I'm sure so many serial killers have existed at so many points in history.
Oh, absolutely.
And the fact that technology just now, within the past, 50 years, is only able to, discover most of these things that solve crimes. It is so disturbing to me how long murderers and serial killers and what have you have been just getting away with this stuff because there's no DNA evidence or technology available to look at that DNA evidence.
Yeah. And I mean, think about this, right? So we're saying that Jack the Ripper is the first official serial killer, right? But if you think about it, we covered the Blood Countess, who they consider a serial killer. We've covered other people from a while ago that are serial killers. But because the prosecution of people was not the same as it is at this time, and the gruesomeness might not have been so front and center displayed to the public,
but also,
it wasn't necessarily categorized the same way.
I think they just didn't have a term or understanding of what a serial killer was and how bad it was. Because I feel like you look at people like the Blood Countess, Lollery or whatever, you look at even Vlad the Impaler. All of these people were serial killers.
They were.
They were just deemed murderers or war criminals or war heroes, depending on what side you're on.
Yep.
They just didn't have the terminology for it.
Yeah. So Just
And
keep
they
that in mind going into
probably
this.
wouldn't have really had the terminology for it until, like, FBI profiling in the 80s.
Which I believe is when they really started defining Jack the Ripper as a serial killer.
Mhm.
So, just keep that aspect in mind while we go into today's episode.
Yeah, because going back to our H.H. Holmes episodes, I was talking about how he's the quintessential serial killer. They used him.
Please cut that out.
I will cut that out, I promise. I just burped so crazy, guys.
Oh, God.
But they used H.H. Holmes as the guidelines for what makes a serial killer. So I'm assuming, because H.H. Holmes and Jack the Ripper happened within years of each other, they probably used Jack the Ripper, too. But they don't know enough about his, like, personal life. They don't know who he is. So they probably just use, like, the aspects of what makes a serial killer as in what they do to their victims.
Yep.
And who they look for. They have this, like, trophy person that they're looking for to fit all these characteristics for this type of serial killer.
Yes. So, with that said, let's get back to Jackie. The killer was leaving behind a minute amount of evidence or clues for investigators to consider. Witness accounts were slim, and this style of killing spree was making investigators actively question themselves on the daily, leading to a lack of direction in the case and miscommunication among detectives. Then add into the mix that the murders were taking place in one of the most crime-ridden places in all of Victorian London, and God, the detectives had their hands full.
Oh my God.
In addition to the fact that this group of detectives severely lacked any communication skills, they also neglected to consider the media a helpful tool to utilize in catching the killer. They considered the newspapers and reporters to be nuisances more than anything and tended to ignore them entirely. For example, detectives today in the 21st century still kind of consider the press to be a bit of a hassle. However, they understand the importance that they can play in catching a criminal. This idea was, kind of lost on Scotland Yard. It wasn't something that they believed at the time. I mean, and rightfully so, why should they? As a result, the press, in typical press fashion, took what little information they could get their hands on and used it to spin shocking stories that kind of disturbed the London readers. They also let loose heavy criticism of the detectives running this case and made claims that they were basically doing a shitty job and the killer was never caught. And, Jesus. They also let loose heavy criticism of the detectives running the case and made claims that they were basically doing a shitty job, and because the killer was never caught, that idea was kind of picked up among many of the citizens of not only Whitechapel, but all of London and internationally as well.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean,
The media's doing its job.
Yes. If we were to say the first thing that comes to our mind about Scotland Yard today, it would probably be that they're incompetent.
Oh, shit.
It's pretty much ingrained into our minds, though, from our knowledge of the Jack the Ripper case and from their regular appearance in works like Sherlock Holmes, where they always just kind of fell short.
I mean, so, even in, JoJo's, the anime.
Yeah, in literally everything, Scotland Yard is always depicted as being fucking stupid and terrible.
And in Black Butler! Y'all! Oh my God.
See, so I
didn't even see this! I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I learned what Scotland Yard was literally in the first episode of this series.
Yeah, so you can't really blame them all and say that they're doing a shitty job, because they really are just using the tools they have at the time. But because of how the press and now the modern day media still spin those tales about the Scotland Yard detectives, it's kind of hard to know, were they actually that terrible, or is this just kind of what we've been ingrained to believe. Now, also, a quick side note.
I also have a quick side note after reading your side note.
If you're into mystery novels and are interested in Sherlock Holmes or the Enola Holmes series on Netflix, I have personally never seen it, but, you know, I would recommend the Lady Sherlock series from Sherry Thomas. They're a good read and a good retelling of the classic Sherlock Holmes stories, but with a female protagonist instead. Hashtag feminism. Another good one is...
Okay.
What?
You with your hashtag feminism.
Oh. Another good one is the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. This one gets kind of a bit more gruesome. It's from Carrie Maniscalco, and it's a lot of mystery. It's very good. So many twists and turns. And there's actually a bit of a regional period romance mixed in there, too. So, book talk aside, Nat can give her side note, and then we'll get back to it.
I mean, I already basically brought it up. JoJo's and Black Butler. If you like anime, they actually, I think, both discuss Jack the Ripper. In JoJo's, it might be a vampire. And in Black Butler, it might be a crazy fucking lady with a chainsaw. So, go check it out. Go check it out.
Yeah, so there's clearly a lot of content that you can consume around the Jack the Ripper story just because of how prominent it is. Yeah.
It's a classic. It is one of the largest unsolved mysteries in the entire world. Besides, how the fuck did they build the pyramids? How the fuck did the Eastern Island heads get there? And
yeah, that's a good
I don't know.
How did Stonehenge come to be? So
yeah,
you know, modern day mysteries. Unsurprisingly, this basic shit talk of all of the police didn't do much to raise morale within the ranks of detectives. Very surprising, I know. If you were shit talked every day, wouldn't you want to go to work? There was interdepartmental fighting, a series of resignations that many claim pretty much drove Scotland Yard into the ground. So, just what you need when you're trying to catch a serial killer.
Yeah, perfect.
Imagine how much faster so many killers would have been caught if the men working these cases could have just kind of set their egos aside for a minute. Like, I know hearing criticism every single day is not easy. I am a designer, okay? A graphic designer.
Who's a Capricorn?
Who is a Capricorn? I get criticism every fucking day, okay? For works I put together with all of my heart and soul, and you just kind of have to not be a little bitch and take it. So, personal experience. Am I catching a killer? No. But am I putting my heart on a platter to give people things I've created and then have them sometimes just be like, this is shit? Yeah. So, It's kind of similar, I guess, right? So, suck it up, princess.
Also, before we say anything else, I don't know if you talk about this at all, but this is in a time where jurisdiction is everything.
Yes, very much so.
There is no working together. There is nothing. Once you cross borders or, like, jurisdiction lines, it's not your case anymore. They don't work together. And this remained that way until, like, the FBI started doing profiling. I'm pretty sure that's when they were like, holy fuck, we have a shit ton of serial killers who are killing people all over the United States. Why aren't you people working together with all the random evidence you all have? And
the worst part is about that is that the FBI can't participate unless they're invited in by people within those jurisdictions, and they're still not allowed to cross jurisdiction lines unless another victim is found in a different jurisdiction, and then it becomes a federal case. So just keep that in mind.
But yeah, I think it was the Ted Bundy murders where they were talking about jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's how they didn't catch him for so long, is because he was moving from state to state. Now, let's take a moment to discuss just how Scotland Yard became the shit show that we know it to be.
Oh my god.
Like I said, this is going to be a lighter episode. But to do that, we're going to have to backtrack to before Jack the Ripper case even started. So back to 1878 we go.
Yay!
Before I dive into this little flashback, I think it's best that I let you know what department was assigned to this case. The Jack the Ripper case fell into the laps of the Metropolitan Police Criminal Investigation Department, or SID. What isn't great about that is that this department was still relatively new when Jack began his spree, as they were only created in 1878. It gets better. Because this department was only created after Scotland Yard was reorganized. But why, might you ask, was Scotland Yard reorganized? Well, that would be because several mid to high-ranking detectives had been put in jail for belonging to a gang of scammers.
Oh!
They wanted that shmoney.
Oh my god! What the fuck?
Yes.
What the hell?
There's corruption everywhere.
This is so fucked up.
Even better, this new department was headed by a very young detective by the name of Howard Vincent, who held the title of Director of Criminal Investigations.
Oh.
Basically, he was the Assistant Police Commissioner, but for some reason he wasn't given the title. And here's where it kind of gets choppy. Vincent reported to the Home Office, or for simple purposes, the Ministry of London. He did not report to the police commissioner.
What?
Yeah, and that's a problem because all of those underneath Vincent reported to the police commissioner.
What does that even mean? So is he actually like a step above this dude? Or is his position completely fucking random?
His position is the person right below the police commissioner. But instead of reporting to the police commissioner, he is essentially reporting to just like the government.
That's so weird. That's so weird. And that just shows how fucking disconnected they were.
Yeah. Disorganized, dysfunctional, disconnected. So as you can imagine...
How does the fucking news thing go? Determined, dependable. How does it go?
Oh. Determined, dependable.
No, it's something before determined.
Oh, I don't fucking... Hold on. I gotta look it up now.
They're the opposite of the news. The Weather Channel. Dedicated!
Yes, that's what it is. Determined, dedicated, dependable.
Dedicated, determined, dependable.
Aha.
The complete fucking opposite of this new shit-ass criminal investigation department.
But, oh, my friend, it only gets better.
Oh, wonderful.
As you can imagine, this led to a lot of information getting lost, and of course, egos, as we mentioned before, getting in the way. Senior officers, political figures, and ministry officials were fighting amongst themselves and drawing lines in the sand to essentially build alliances and get people in each of their corners. By the time 1884 came around, 4 years before the first murder, Vincent had been trying to politely resign for over a year. He literally said, "Fuck this." However, he didn't put his foot down until a terrorist bomb went off directly under Scotland Yard's Irish branch.
Isn't that a thing in the Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr.?
I believe so.
I'm like, huh.
Yeah, so after that, literally that same day, he literally said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out," and stepped down and ran for parliament instead.
Oh!
I do not know if he got parliament. I didn't look it up. But I figured it wasn't important to this case.
Okay. Work.
Instead, a man named James Monroe took his place. he immediately went to war with a member of the Home Office, and their fight continued for years until Monroe won and added the title of Head of Section D to his list of titles.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to talk about Monroe much, because despite his bitch fit, it kind of seems like he wasn't terrible at the job.
Oh, okay.
He was an advocate for adding more detectives to the ranks so his men didn't get overworked, which is kind of astounding at this time. A lot of employers really did not give a shit. Uh-huh. This is still the time where I believe it was the 6-day work week. So...
yeah, I don't even know.
He continued to actually fight this and work on it for years, but the pleas kind of fell on deaf ears and no extra staff was added. And eventually he ended up throwing in the towel and resigned on August 31st, 1888, the same day as the murder of Mary Nichols. However, he resigned that morning.
What the fuck?
Not after. So keep that in mind. He resigned before. So he wasn't like, yep, this lady died. Nope, not my problem. It just happened to be an awful fucking coincidence.
But didn't he fucking hear of it? Why wouldn't he be like, hey, give me my job back?
Because you see...
or let me help.
They immediately replaced him.
Oh my god.
And oddly enough, the man that replaced Monroe was the one that he battled with for years. A man named Robert Anderson. So these were the two that went back and forth in a bitch fight for like 4 years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And to say Anderson was a shady man would be an understatement. Because the reason him and Monroe fought was because Anderson attempted to infiltrate terrorists into the Home Office several years ago.
Huh?
Yeah, the people that set off the bomb at the Scotland Yard were people that he had been for years trying to infiltrate into the Home Office.
What?
Yeah, so essentially he was a terrorist.
How did he get this damn job?
I cannot answer that question.
What in the fuck? Who the hell is hiring these people?
Incompetent people. That's who are hiring.
You got a fucking baby assistant commissioner.
Yep.
A literal boss baby.
Yeah. Then you have one decent guy, it seems, for a while.
One decent guy, yeah. And
maybe
then
had a little ego
terrorist.
Yeah. But you see...
what?
He's bad at terrorism because he never succeeded and did nothing.
Oh.
And as we'll see, he's kind of bad at his job, too.
Oh. Wow.
So he took this over the day that,
he fucking lied on his resume. He's that person. Who
basically,
was like, I type 300 words per minute. He types like 2 words per minute. Like,
yes.
Jeez.
Throw back to Typing Tuesdays.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, but remember, he took on this job literally the day that Mary Nichols was killed, okay? The first Jack the Ripper victim.
Crazy.
But you see, he was so exhausted from his secret terrorist work that immediately after accepting the Director of Criminal Investigations title, his doctor wrote him a note and expressed the need for a lengthy recuperative break.
What? What?
Yeah.
He got a doctor's note?
Yeah.
In 1888. Oh my god. He got a doctor's note to go on fucking vacation.
Yeah. So, like the shit human he was, Anderson hightailed it for Switzerland within a literal week of taking up his new post.
Holy fuck!
And he left his team pretty much high and dry full of amateur detectives wwithout a leader just as the Jack the Ripper spree began.
Holy shit! Why wouldn't they just hire a better person?
I have no idea.
We gotta hold this job for the terrorists. He's in Switzerland on a long vacay. He's sipping some fucking Svedka.
Basically, yeah.
Wait, I think Svedka's Swedish.
Yeah.
What? Stoli? Is Stoli Swiss? I don't know.
It might be. I don't know. He was sipping
Stoli
on
might be Russian. I don't know. But what
he was drinking some fucking beer in the Alps or something, okay? And
what the hell?
Yeah, so, like I said, don't completely shit on the detectives that were working this case because they had no leadership, okay? Like, it's their fault, like, a good bit, but, like, you can't blame it all on them. That's why I gave that little thing at the beginning. Natalie, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I was shaking my head in silence. You can't see me because my camera's not on.
Because it's so fucking unbelievable.
What the fuck? This is some crazy shit.
Yeah, no, it's pretty extraordinarily special. Kind of unfucking believable.
This is insane. And the fact they didn't fire him immediately when he was like, here's my doctor's note. I'm so unwell and tired.
From my
terrorism. A little vacay. I'm gonna go to Switzerland and never fucking come back.
And basically that's what he did.
That's so
He, like,
weird.
Literally never fucking participated in the investigation again.
That is so weird.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he came back after they just, like, stopped investigating.
What the fuck? He had somebody, like, writing him letters to know when it was over so he didn't have to fucking work?
I believe so. Something like that, yeah. Or he was staying up on the news.
How did they not immediately fire him? What the fuck?
They took their mental health very seriously.
Yeah, sure they did. They wouldn't hire more fucking detectives to help improve the mental health of the workers they already have. Oh no, they had to hire a fucking terrorist, let him work a week, and then keep his fucking job alive while he was fucking off in Switzerland.
Yeah.
While women were being murdered.
Yep.
Why I order? Okay. My ranting's done. For the moment.
Surprisingly, the amateur detectives on the job were fairly reasonable and recognized that they needed more knowledge of the area and the people residing in it. So in early September of 1888, the Scotland Yard detectives actually brought in an additional person, Inspector Frederick George Aberlin, who specialized in the Whitechapel area.
Oh?
Yeah, he actually served on the streets working for Scotland Yard for 14 years.
Oh, shit.
So he had gotten to know quite a bit of these people and the area.
Okay, so they do fucking check qualifications, so that bitch lied on his resume.
But you see, they don't necessarily care because the only reason they had to bring Inspector Frederick back was because they reassigned him literally a couple weeks prior.
Oh.
Yeah. So
they were like, wait, actually.
They're like, we didn't predict this was gonna happen.
So
sorry, we demoted
your cock
you
real quick. We need you back.
Yeah. So his knowledge was invaluable, obviously, to the investigation and helped the Scotland Yard detectives to get a start on the case.
Okay.
And Frederick actually worked with them on the case, I believe, for the entirety of their investigation. So he stuck around for a while. He tried to do what he could, you know?
Mm-hmm. A decent detective. Okay.
Yeah, for the time period, he was really trying to do his job.
Well, I guess he's an inspector. What's the difference between an inspector and a detective?
I don't really know.
Okay, never mind.
I don't know. My guess is he had to, like, inspect the area. He was probably writing citations or something. He might not have been, like, a...
definitely more, like, on the ground, active duty type person.
Yeah, my guess is he's kind of the guy they assign in modern day on, like,
the horses?
I was gonna say the people in, like, LA that are, like, beat cops that are assigned to just, like, work the sex working ring and just make sure people don't get murdered in, like, a surplus.
Oh.
That's my guess as to what he kind of was.
I don't know fuck all about that. I was thinking, like, bicycle cops.
I mean, he very well could be. He could be the, like, person just, like, checking parking
cop.
meters, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I smell like chicken Caesar salad.
That's unique.
I just, like, randomly smelled it. I don't know if anybody out there can tell me why the fuck I just started smelling that. Am I being haunted by a chicken Caesar salad? I don't know. Carol
just had a knacking for chicken Caesar salad. So she was like,
That actually sounds pretty delightful, so I do agree with her on that.
I would crush some chicken that's been marinated in Caesar dressing and then baked. It would be delicious right about now. Nonetheless.
All right. I could crush some braised oxtail right now. There's a Jamaican place right near my house. Holy fuck.
There is.
I'm telling you right now, the best food to eat when you're high is braised oxtail with steamed vegetables, white rice with beans. Festival. Have y'all ever tried Festival? It's basically fried cornbread. And then a beef patty, which is basically just fucking, like, ground beef and vegetables and spices mixed up inside of a beautiful, like, pastry dough.
That actually sounds fantastic.
I'm telling you, if you are high, that is the best thing you can ever eat. I feel like a little caveman, like, chewing on the bone and stuff. It's great.
Jesus Christ.
It's delicious.
What is this episode?
I don't know.
Book Rex. Food Rex.
I will tell you guys, I took an edible before we started recording, so...
I was like, it's gonna be a relaxed episode. That's fine.
It hasn't kicked in yet.
No, so she's just happy-go-lucky.
I'm having a good day.
The first step in breaking this case, or at least attempting to, was determining whether or not Jack the Ripper knew his victims. Now, after hearing Nat's episode yesterday, we discussed in the last killing of...
Mary Jane Kelly,
that they were considering the fact that because she was the only person that was murdered inside, that maybe she knew her killer.
Mm-hmm.
However, detectives were almost 100% positive that Jack didn't know any of his victims. That they were more just killings of opportunity.
Which
when
makes
they fit into his, like, specific victim profile.
Mm-hmm.
So they turned to other methods to try and track down the killer. They examined known criminals and tried to persuade those who knew something to come forward. But, as we know, it was not successful. Surprisingly, and this is according to sources, we'll kind of get into it in a second, the police seem to sway away from offering a reward for information regarding Jack the Ripper. But I have to admit that I think that was the better idea. As we know, witness testimony is hardly ever accurate, and offering any type of compensation to the starving and poor citizens living in Whitechapel most likely would have brought nothing but false stories to get some extra coin.
Yeah, people were telling false stories without even being offered a reward. Because they just wanted to be part of the gossip and a part of the story.
Exactly. So I don't think it's surprising that they didn't offer a reward. I think it would have actually made the case much worse if they had.
I think so too.
One point that we should consider, though, is that the detectives very well may have had a better chance at catching Jack the Ripper if they hadn't wasted their time chasing false leads that were provided to them, of course, by the citizens, or drummed up in their own heads due to anti-Semitic views.
Oh my god.
So this is, once again, anti-Semitism is coming back into the mix here.
Holy shit.
Yes.
That's
so
stupid.
They were like, no, Jack cannot be a white man. A white man would never kill anyone.
This is so gross.
Yeah. But this is witnessed in the leather apron story that led the detectives astray. So Nat mentioned it in the last episode as well, leather apron. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit later.
I swear to God, I have to tell you something right now. I just heard my cat shit his fucking pants. Loudly. Through the wall. Holy shit. He just had explosive diarrhea or some shit.
Do you know what one?
Probably Jasper.
I was gonna say, it's probably Jasper.
It was loud. Holy shit.
Jasper is the chaotic cat. So.
Jasper is literally, if you picture a lesser demon, that's a picture of Jasper with his little fangs sticking out.
Jasper will be in the demons A through Z, letter J.
Yes! If we ever even go back to that miniseries, yeah.
I kind of miss it.
I did too, I liked it, but...
I wouldn't mind doing something after Halloweek is over. Just for something kind of relaxed, you know?
Mm-hmm. I do want to do a listener story at some point.
Yes, no, a listener story would be good. It's been a while since we did one of those.
I think it's much needed. I think we have some outstanding stories.
I think we do too.
Yeah.
So, this combination of the police chasing false leads and the public inserting themselves into the investigation resulted in nothing but chaos. Debatably, the most time-consuming aspect of the case were the letters supposedly sent in by Jack the Ripper, as the detectives spent a large amount of time picking them apart and investigating leads. By the end of their investigation, the police investigated nearly 700 letters. But there were, 700 letters. But only a few kind of stood out from the rest that they think did come from Jack the Ripper. They believe that maybe some of the other 700 could have been, but these are the ones that they're kind of definitively like, okay, this could definitely be from Jack. Mm-hmm. The rest were basically just people fucking bored trying to get their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
So, to wrap up this episode, what I'm going to do is read those letters. The first letter that left an impression was the Dear Boss letter, which reads, Dear Boss, I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. I've laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on the right track. That joke about leather apron gave me a real fit. I'm down on whores, and I shan't quit ripping them till I get buckled.
Oh my god.
Grand work the last job was. I gave the lady no time to squeal. How can they catch me now? I love my work, and I want to start again. You will soon hear of me with my funny little games. I saved some of the proper red stuff in a ginger beer bottle over the last job to write with, but it went thick like glue, and I can't use it. Red ink is fit enough, I hope. Haha. The next job I do, I shall clip the lady's ears off and send to the police officers, just for jolly, wouldn't you?
Oh
Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife's so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right away if I get a chance. Yours truly, Jack the Ripper. P.S. Don't mind me giving the trade name. Wasn't good enough to post this before I got all the red ink off my hands, of course. No luck yet. They say I'm a doctor now. Haha.
This is not the Ripper.
You think so?
I do not think the Ripper was that annoying.
I don't know. I think he could have been. Like, that
Who
just
the fuck
screams
is his boss?
ego.
That's somebody trying to make it seem like he is a henchman for a gang boss.
No, they sent these letters in to the police and to the reporters.
But why did he call him boss?
Because he's sending these letters in to the, like, head of the police department. So he's saying, "Dear boss," like, lead guy in charge. He's taunting him.
Yeah, but it says, "Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight." Like, he sent this to someone and then told them to send it to the police. According to this letter.
He sent this to the police and told him to keep the letter. Until
away
he
from,
committed
like,
more
media?
murder. Yes, and then give it to the media.
Well, I feel like that's not... I feel like both of those... it could be either of those things. Because it's not blatantly stated.
I think her edible's kicking in.
No! I don't think so!
No, all of these letters
But he said
are
the next
recorded
job
have been sent to the police.
He said the next job I shall do, I shall clip the lady's ears off and send to the police officers just for jolly. Wouldn't you?
Nat, you also have to remember this is Victorian English.
I don't know. It just seems like he's talking to someone else. I don't know. That's just what it seems like. I don't know.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
swear. I don't know.
Let's go to the next letter.
Why would he be addressing the police as the police officers?
He's taunting them.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Oh, gosh. The next letter is the favored from hell letter, which read, "From hell, Mr. Lusk. Sir, I send you half the kidney I took from one woman, preserved it for you, tother piece. I fried and ate it. It was very nice.
This is
I may send the bloody knife that took it out, if you only wait a while longer. Signed, catch me when you can, Mr. Lusk."
That was awful! That's so fake!
I
The
do not
letter
like that
from
letter.
hell?
This is one of the letters that they took in at the beginning, but I think after receiving the other ones, they kind of wrote it off more.
That's just so dumb. Like,
Exactly.
this, compared to the first one had proper punctuation, proper wording, fancy words.
Yep. In this one, half the shit's spelled wrong, and there's, like, the grammar's terrible.
Why would they say... Okay, this seems racist, like they're trying to peg it on a Jewish person because of that last line.
Well, one.
The pronunciation of Mishter.
Oh. Yeah, maybe.
It seems very racially charged.
It could be. And like we said, a lot of people were sending these in. They're anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
And so this one, they did write off. A lot of people don't believe that this is a actual letter. But they do believe that that leather apron one that we just read, the Dear Boss letter, is actually from Jack the Ripper.
I guess if you're thinking of it in a parody or like sarcasm, making fun of the police, I can see that. I think it shows that the killer is intelligent. So yeah, I'm interested in this other letter.
Yes. So, this last letter we're going to read was sent to a Dr. Openshaw.
Okay.
So I don't know if Dr. Openshaw was maybe one of the...
I'm looking at this letter.
the medical people working on the case, doing some of the autopsies or something. So keep this in mind. Old boss, you was right. It was the left kidney I was going to operate again. Close to you, opposite, just as I was going to draw my knife along her bloomin' throat. Then cusses of copper spoilt the game, but I guess I'll be on the job again soon, and will send you another bit of innards. Jack the Ripper. Oh, have you seen the devil with his microscope and scalpel a-looking at a kidney with a slide cocked up?
What?
I don't know. Basically, these last two, I kind of just disregard.
Well, this one seems like they're trying to blame it on a British guy.
Yeah.
Or, I guess...
You can see in this one,
along
the writer is...
throat. Oh, maybe an Irish person?
Something like that, yeah.
An Irish person? I think these last two are just people being hateful towards the immigrants in the area.
I believe that, and I believe in the last letter.
Also, Oh, I just watched the Fall of House Usher.
Mm-hmm.
And... Oh, was it that? Oh, no. So I'm watching this K-drama right now. Mm-hmm. And it's called Behind Your Touch. Yeah. And it's essentially like a goofy K-drama, but it's also about like a serial killer. Mm-hmm. And in the discussion of, like, they're in the mania stage, right? Where everybody's like, oh my god, who's the killer? People are dying. This is not the type of area that people are dying. And they're immediately blaming it on the outsiders.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what people do. Because
I would agree.
It's an easy scapegoat, especially if you already have that hatred for another group of people. Mm-hmm. You can basically demonize them and get other people to go against them because you're in this state of manic and panic and all types of people are being manipulated with the information that they're receiving. So, like... these last two letters kind of make it seem like that's probably what's happening at this time, is they're probably looking at the outsiders saying, oh, well, it can't be us, the people who've been here forever. We would never do that. We weren't the ones who ruined the area. We didn't do this. We would never do this.
What I think is the last two letters, I believe, are obviously copycat letters, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But I do think with the last one specifically, the letter to Dr. Openshaw, they are really trying their hardest to copy the,
colloquial?
The Dear Boss letter.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because the first sentence, old boss.
Yeah.
You was right.
Yeah, but so, it doesn't even sound like the first letter.
No, but they're taking words from that first letter.
Yeah.
But they don't have that same level of education, and they're structuring it the same way. Yeah. But the words are spelled wrong. There's no grammar. And overall, the tone just isn't the same. On that note, there you have it.
Yeah.
The investigation of Jack the Ripper and a breakdown of the Scotland Yard Police Department. I didn't want to get too into the nitty-gritty as far as, like, suspect are concerns. Because Nat is going to go into those tomorrow. But I did want to set the scene so you can understand why this case was kind of handled as poorly as it was. And that's all I've got. So unless Nat has anything to add or any final thoughts, I think we can wrap this one up.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right. Find us on social media at Wading Into the Void. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can expect some updates there, just some fun content. And with that note, we'll catch you again for episode 4 tomorrow.
Yay!
I can't believe we're halfway through. We're looking at the end of the week, and it's just insane to me. But happy Halloweek, guys. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.